Hey there, I'm Aki, and a lot of you have some very weird misconceptions about Subnautica. So in this video I thought I'd just clear up the most common ones I see. I've already made several videos on the sizes of different creatures, and even there, people just don't believe me. Creatures are much bigger than you might think. A peeper might look cute and small in your hand because it gets scaled down when you pick it up. But if you take a look at it in third person, it's as big as your head. Blood crawlers, sand sharks, and even lava larvae are terrifying once you realize they're all about your size, if not bigger. Well, lava larvae are about the size of a large dog, but still, that is insane. This gets even crazier when you get to leviathans and realize your cyclops is the same length as a reaper, and you're smaller than one of the emperor's eyes. Even something as small as a sea treader ends up being the size of a multi-story building at 20 meters. This stuff is insane. Basically, every creature on Planet 4546b is almost as big as your own head or bigger, even if it might not look like it in first person. You can check the size of any creature in the game by setting the speed to 0, going to free cam, spawning the creature in, and then using the size ref command. I'm not sure why there's such a disconnect between first and third person, but this game is much more terrifying than you thought. So please stop being smart in my comments and telling me that I got all the sizes wrong, thank you. Something else about the Reaper that Subnautica actually lies to you about is the roar. In the PDA entry for the Reaper, it tells you that if you can hear its roar, it can see you. Which implies some sort of echolocation going on, but that is just not the case. Reapers work the same way every other creature works. They see you when you are close enough. I can definitely see why people believe this. I mean, it's literally in the PDA, but sadly, it's not an actual gameplay mechanic. That would be really cool though, right? A creature that can't see you unless you make sound, and only being able to track you with the noises you make. Yeah, it's really a shame it doesn't exist. Or does it? If you do want something like that, the Call of the Void team and I have released a mod with a Leviathan that works exactly like that, the Silence. And the best part? It's completely 100% absolutely free. Link is in the description. You might have heard people talking about how the gargantuan skeleton in the Lost River is only a juvenile. I have absolutely no idea where this originates from, but that's just the wildest lie I've heard people telling. It's definitely not true. How do I know? Well, if you follow this path behind the skull, past the secondary research facility and the cove tree, up this brine fall and slightly to the left, you'll find this. The actual juvenile of the gargantuan Leviathan. We don't know how it got here or how it died, but it's clearly a much smaller version of the same skeleton. Fun fact, by the way, even this juvenile could easily swallow your sea moth. Yeah, we can be really glad this species is dead. Just another example of size really not translating well to first person. Now, this next one has gotten a lot better since news about the next Subnautica game came out, thankfully. But Below Zero is not Subnautica 2. That will be the next game. I've seen people being downvoted into oblivion on Reddit for telling people this. Like, what? But they're right. I mean, it is Reddit after all, but still, you know. Below Zero is considered more of a spin-off by the developers, while the next game is a full-blown sequel. And yes, I know that for a fact because I talked to the CEO and that's what he said. If you think about it, it does make sense. Other than taking place after Subnautica, everything else doesn't indicate a sequel. There are no familiar characters, it's a completely new setting, a completely new story, and the closest we get to a character from the original game is Margaret, who never even appeared in Subnautica outside of PDA logs. Personally, I do agree that the next game should be called Subnautica 3 and not 2, just to avoid confusion. But it is all up to the developers. And with chances being the next game is literally called Subnautica 2, without any subtitle, we're just going to have to accept that. What I'm expecting is for the next game to be tied into Subnautica's story much more closely, and maybe we'll even play as Riley again or encounter him in the game as an NPC. It will, however, take place on a completely new planet, so it won't be 4546b. if you are interested in the video collecting all the info and teasers we have on Subnautica 2 this far, and maybe going into some more theories for the game, let me know in the comments and I might just actually make that. Now, this next point is more of a nitpick for me personally, but the Emperor is not a female. I constantly see people referring to it as she, or even the Empress, which I guess I get where they're coming from, but it's just simply not true. Yes, it has a female voice actor, but getting a voice actor that sounds neither male nor female is basically impossible. We are human after all.
I'm only human.
And yes, it lays eggs and has children, but that doesn't mean it's female. In fact, none of the creatures are either male or female. All species on planet 4546b are genderless and reproduce asexually. So, every single creature can lay and fertilize eggs. No gender or sex required. Now, is there any harm in calling it the Empress? Not really, but it annoys me, so I just put it on the list. Please stop calling her she. Damn it, I did it myself. Now, last but not least, this concept has been circulated around the community a bunch since early access. It is a species called the Native, and supposedly uses crude tools and has a high level of intelligence, even hunting in packs and sometimes attacking the player's bases. Especially during early access, but even now I see people thinking this is an early unused concept for a potential primitive species. Before Below Zero, people even theorized that this is what precursors look like. Sorry to disappoint, but this concept is not official. It was created by Claverflav in June 2015 and posted on the Unknown Worlds forums. They imagined this being the species responsible for shooting down the Aurora, since all we knew about it at this point is what the old intro told us. In case you forgot or have never seen it, this is the old intro.
In the late 22nd century, humanity is beginning to colonize space. Before colony ships arrive, habitation vessels are appointed terraforming missions. The Aurora was one such vessel. During its descent, the Aurora was struck by a mysterious energy pulse, resulting in catastrophic hull failure. A single life pod jettisoned prior to impact. You were in that life pod.
Man, that nostalgia just hit really hard. I love this intro. But I assume this is where the confusion between this being a random fan-made concept and a concept for the precursor species came from. The precursors being the ones who actually shot down the Aurora. Though I have to wonder, while this is a great sculpt, it lacks any of the details or rendering usually associated with official Subnautica concepts. Comparing this to, for example, the Sea Dragon concept, it is very obvious to me that it's not official. But I guess sometimes people just don't look into it that much. What you should be looking into though is Subnautica Call of the Void, a DLC-sized mod I'm developing with my team to expand on the story and gameplay of Subnautica. You'll venture into the void to explore floating islands, discover ruined architect structures, and horrifying leviathans. If you'd like to know more, check out the playlist in the top right, or if you want to support the project, check out the Patreon in the description. But for now, thank you very much for watching. Remember to leave a like for more videos like this, and as always, I'll see you next time. Goodbye!